So, let us get to the main point of today's stream, the tier list. Let's start with Dead Rising. Dead Rising was one of the first zombie games I've ever played. I never played it on the Wii or on mobile like some people ended up playing it that way, but I did end up playing it on the Xbox 360, and it was kind of my introduction to zombie games, besides Call of Duty Nazi Zombies. That kind of was too, but this was an introduction to zombies that has a special place in my heart. Dead Rising was kind of innovative in some ways. Oh, Lollipop Chainsaw. I forgot Lollipop Chainsaw, damn it. Well, that was one of the games that I did forget. I would probably put that in maybe like a B tier, though. So I think I'm going to give Dead Rising an A tier. Dead Rising is very, very good. It may get a remake someday. You know, with all the games getting remakes these days, I wouldn't be surprised if Dead Rising was one of those to get a remake. Dead Rising 2, I would say, is an A tier as well. Although I don't think I like it as much as the first game personally. Although there is more to the game in general. The reason I have it in an A tier is because of the weapon customization rooms. Off the Record is an S tier, baby. Off the Record is easily the most underrated Dead Rising game, to me at least. It was actually a spin-off of Dead Rising 2, bringing back the original voice actor for Frank West. Not no Dead Rising 4 shenanigans where they decided to replace the voice actor. We got the original Frank back to kill some more zombies in the Dead Rising 2 map with all of the mostly same things there, with a little bit of a different story tweaked. The reason I like it and put it in an S tier is because it's probably one of my favorite zombie games of all time, just to be able to hop on and have some fun zombie slashing and being able to play as Frank West. Okay, so next up, I'm going to add Dead Rising 3. Dead Rising 3 was the first Xbox One game I played, and it's one where I really did enjoy the first half of it. I did really like a lot of the things that were going for it, but I feel like it kind of fell off a little bit. I didn't really like that the ending was kind of a cliffhanger. Dead Rising 3 is okay. I think it's a game that gets a bit of a bad rap, although Dead Rising 4, I didn't play it ever, but I think it completely deserves it because I decided to not buy that game. It just really wasn't for me. They decided to just not continue anything from Dead Rising 3, at least from what I remember. I've watched playthroughs. So yeah, Dead Rising 3 gets a C rank, and Dead Rising 4, although I've never played it, would probably get a D or an E or an F rank because, man, they just butchered the story. They did not do it justice. Next up is World War Z Aftermath. I think this game is okay. I didn't really play it too much. I got it on the Epic Games Store for free. So I'm going to throw it in the C tier because I thought it was actually a good time. I thought the horde effects were actually pretty good, but when you compare it to a game like Days Gone, which I've never played and I will try someday, I think it's maybe a little bit underwhelming. I'm also more into open world games, so I think it being more linear and you having to choose specific maps to kind of run through, it's more in the same vein as Back 4 Blood and Left 4 Dead than a game like Dead Island or Dying Light. I made a video recently going over Dead Island and revisiting it and just giving it another playthrough and just seeing what's up, seeing if it actually holds up in 2023. And yes and no. Some things about the game is great, and some things about it kind of suck a lot. Like, it's a little buggy, it's still kind of a mess all of these years later. But I mean, it's still a good time. I still very much like it. I had a ton of fun playing through it. I had more fun with it than Riptide. We'll get to that in a second, even though I didn't beat Riptide. So I think I'm going to give Dead Island a B because I respect it, and it's definitely sat through my childhood through so many years. Dead Island was one of those games I grew up playing with my dad, and we've built some memories through that for sure. So it has a special place in my heart, same as Dead Rising. Same as Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. I played that with my dad as well. A lot of these games do have a special place in my heart, but I'm not letting that change my perspective on where I put things, you know? Next up, Dead Island Riptide. One of the games that many people hyped up and wanted me to play dearly. And I had a good time in the prologue, but after the prologue, man, this game's kind of a slog. I really just did not enjoy what I played. Maybe because it's limited to just the jungle area. The jungle area is my least favorite area of the original Dead Island, so it's kind of to be expected that I wouldn't really like this game very much with it being entirely jungle. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give Dead Island Riptide the D tier. Escape Dead Island. I completed this game recently. It's good. It's great. It's a masterpiece. Deserves the SSS tier, and just kidding, deserves the C tier. And then it actually may be a surprise to some of you why I'm not giving it the D tier, because some people straight up hate this game. Some people hate it with all of their heart and think it's the worst Dead Island game out there. I actually had a good amount of fun with this game. It's not bad. The story is terrible. I'll tell you that much. The story literally makes no sense in the second half especially. At least Escape Dead Island, they tried to do something interesting with the story and the randomness going on. I could tell the chat's pissed. The chat's not having it today, folks. I'm gonna reassess the tier list. Escape Dead Island. It's an okay game. I actually had a very much good time with it, although this story sucks, so that's why it's a C tier, and it's not a D tier. Dead Island Riptide. Maybe I'll give it another chance someday. But for right now, in the history books, I do not like Riptide. Sorry, folks. And next up is the 2015 version of Dead Island 2. Now, I contemplated whether to even put this on the list or not, but since I spent so many hours on it, more than I spent on Riptide, I might as well put it on the list, right? So I actually think, as it is, it's a D tier. Next up is 7 Days to Die. This is a game I've only played with friends, like at a friend's house or through co-op and so on, so I don't know how this game plays in solo, but it's kind of ass, but it's actually quite a bit of fun if you play with the right people. Alright, anyways, though, let's move on to Project Zomboid. I played this game kind of recently. It's very, very good. So I'm going to give it a B ranking. It's not really my type of game in general. It's a very, very sandbox-oriented game, but I really like it, though. It's a ton of fun. I recommend you guys try it out. It's a game that really allows to replay through a zombie apocalypse in whatever way you imagine. You can kind of just have your own style and make your own character. And I've seen some good roleplay videos on this game. It's a ton of fun to watch as well. Okay, State of Decay. I do not like this game. I do think it's better than 7 Days to Die, though, so I'm probably going to give it... You know, the more I think about it, it's good. I think it's better than the second game, to be honest. I did not like the second game very much. I don't even have that on the tier list. Whoops. I'm going to have to rethink this one a little bit, but I'm going to give it the D for now. The higher ups of the Ds, you know? Next up is Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2, one of my favorite games of all time, at least the remake. I absolutely love this game, and it was the first game I played on my laptop when I first got it. One of the best survival horror games I would say ever made, up there with Resident Evil 4, which we'll get to in a little bit. Also, download the first-person mod if you haven't already for this game if you own it, because the first-person mod literally changes the game. It switches it up. It is so nice. I love it. Resident Evil 3 was such a disappointing remake, man, because I heard from my friend Jack, who I'm actually going to be borrowing a Leon jacket from for another upcoming stream. He told me that there's like actually different choices and there's different paths that you can go down, and compared to the remake, it's kind of a way better game. I do think it deserves to be in the C tier. I do think the game is mechanically very nice. The parry mechanic added in Resident Evil 3 is very, very nice. Glad to see that return in Resident Evil 4 as well. Yeah, this shouldn't be too surprising at this point, especially with the remake coming around and me kind of talking about my hype a little bit about it on stream. Resident Evil 4, though, was one of those very, very innovative 2004 games that really went to go change the gaming landscape. It led to a lot of games getting that third-person camera perspective that many of us all know to love in a lot of survival horror games. RE4 VR, I love this game so much, man. It's S tier. I think it's actually the best VR game. I never played Half-Life Alyx, though, so I can't say for certain. But from what I've played, it is the best VR game that you can get. People say Resident Evil 7 was the game that kind of revived Capcom a little bit. But I actually think Monster Hunter World was that kind of game. I personally love this game. I think it deserves to be in the A tier. Just a very good game in general. Resident Evil 7 is better than RE8. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Resident Evil 8. I pre-ordered this game, and it was the last game I ever pre-ordered, and I'm probably going to keep that going for a while. RE8 gets a B tier. I think the game's very, very good. The ending kind of underwhelmed me in a lot of ways. I thought the different enemies were very, very cool, but there's that random difficulty spike where you're running from all the wolf enemies, and it felt very unnecessary, like they tried to repeat some of RE4's intro with the village. The Last of Us. I'm kidding. One of my favorite games of all time. I may adjust this to an S rank instead of an SS, but I absolutely love this game. The show that's out right now is absolutely incredible. If you guys have not seen HBO's The Last of Us, you really need to watch it. It is above any other game adaptation I've ever seen besides maybe Arcane or Cyberpunk, but those are adapting not really stories within the world, but just the world itself, so it's kind of different. I'm actually going to move The Last of Us to S tier because there is some problems that I had with the game in terms of the puzzle design. With the wrapped puzzles, how you have to push Ellie around. I feel like those were kind of a little repetitive after a while. I've never played The Last of Us Part 2. I know the gameplay is absolutely great. I don't know about the story so much. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Killing Floor 2. I think this is a very, very good game with friends. I never really played it too much. I got it for free in the PlayStation Store back in the day when it was free. It's one of those round-based zombie slashers, kind of like you'd see with old Call of Duty zombie rounds with, you know, Nazi zombies back in the day. So I don't love this game as much as some other people. I'm gonna have to give it high B's over Project Zomboid, and I really do like that game too. Killing Floor 2 is very, very good. The zombie types are very, very cool in general, but I just feel like this game isn't really my thing personally, and that's why it's not in the A tier, more in the B tier. We're getting on to some of the more classics down here. We have Left 4 Dead, one of the OGs. Now, I didn't play this game as much as a lot of people have, but I absolutely do really like this game, though, and I do respect it a lot, especially for the time it came out. One of Valve's really good games at the time, and we haven't gotten too much good since then, but, you know, I really do like this game. So I'm going to give it an S tier. And yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say about it. I do agree with somebody's comment there. I do think the Left 4 Dead games are very similar. So it almost just kind of makes sense to put both of them up here, but I'm trying to think of which games maps I like more, because that kind of dictates where the choices are. I'm going to put them in the same tier, but I'm going to put Left 4 Dead 2 over Left 4 Dead 1. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Oh man, I love this game so much. I haven't played it in a long time, but I do kind of plan on it sometime soon. It's a shame we never got a Red Dead Redemption 2 style Undead Nightmare DLC. It's such a shame and missed opportunity, but with how they've supported Red Dead Online, I can't say I'm surprised. I can't give it an SS rank, because I've never actually fully completed it before, so I don't know for sure. But I don't think it's better than Left 4 Dead, but I do think it deserves an S. Left 4 Dead 2 deserves an SS rank. It has all of the Left 4 Dead 1 maps and mod support. You are right. I think Left 4 Dead 2 having all of the Left 4 Dead 1 maps kind of just almost makes it having it on here kind of a little bit pointless. That does make me push this rank up a little bit more. Do I think it's better than RE4 VR? I don't think so. I personally think I've had more fun in VR with RE4, but I do think Left 4 Dead 2 is very good. Telltale's The Walking Dead. For all of the seasons, not just the first season, we're going to look at it for the complete show in general. I think it's kind of a C tier, but if we look at just the first season in general, which is the main season with Lee, I think that shit is an A tier, man. That shit, oh, I love it. It's so good. I haven't played it in a long time, but it's definitely Telltale's best game. At least I would think so. So, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is the Walking Dead VR game for those that don't know, and I bought this game soon after I played RE4 VR, so I definitely had a bit of an RE4 VR bias, a little bit. It's good. It's very good. I think it's better than RE8. Is it better than Project Zomboid, though? Yeah, I think that's how it's gotta be. Alright, moving on to the game that kind of started this channel to begin with, which is Dying Light. This is a game that means so much to me, and it's kind of changed my life in a lot of ways. And for that, I am very grateful to what this game has brought me, whether it be the roleplay that I've started, or the friends that I've made over the years, or so many things. And I feel like for the Dead Island fans, this is probably going to piss some people off. But for me, personally, Dying Light has impacted my life in so many ways that I think it truly deserves the SS tier to me. To many people, it might just be an S, it might just be an A, or it might even be a B, D, or E, or F. But for me, this game has impacted my life, and I think for that, it deserves to have the SS rank. Dying Light 2. Oh man, this game's very controversial. I had early access to it, I did a review on it, and I made a ton of videos on it, and I plan on making many more. I hope the support for this lifespan will continue to grow, and we'll be able to get all the cool DLCs and things we really want. But I don't love Dying Light 2 as much as Dying Light 1. Even close, to be honest. I think Dying Light 2 is a very good game that has a lot of good things going for it, but I think it was one of those games that pulled a lot of mechanics from other games, while not adapting or improving on them too much. And it was, to me, just kind of a jumble of a mess of a lot of mechanics. I think the parkour is phenomenal, but I didn't love it as much as I wanted to love it. The reason it's going in the end of the A tiers and not like the B or the C, which I feel like some people would probably think I would put it, is because I've built some good memories on this game. So many things have come from this. And yeah, like I said, this is my tier list, so these things have impacted me in so many ways. Some of these games I do have a bias for, because these are games that have impacted my life in a personal way, more than many of you would ever really be able to realize. So that's kind of why some things are where they are. And onto the controversial Riptide. So, I've given it to the end of the stream to really think about it, and through all the controversial takes, and through everything I've thought about, I haven't completed Dead Island Riptide, so I can understand some people's disappointment for my choice here, but it's going in the B. Well, that was a pretty interesting tier list. Definitely did not go the way I expected it to go. Definitely very controversial.